Hi friends, welcome back to Lazy, Hungry, and Broke with Sherry. So the next dish I'm working on for Easter is scalloped potatoes. The last time I made scalloped potatoes was in my drinking years. I couldn't tell you if they turned out good or not. Not a clue, don't remember. So now this, I'm reading the instructions, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much involved in it. So I am going to have to follow the instructions if I could find them. I have no idea now. Oh, here we go. So right now we're making the sauce. So I've got this big pan. I think I need to move you guys over here a little bit more. Can you see that? Maybe we need to bring you closer. Put you right on the stove. Nothing's on the stove right now, so I turned you off, sorry. Whoa. Okay. That's how we're gonna do it. Okay, so for the sauce, we wanna melt the butter. So I'm gonna throw the butter in. Now I've had to triple this recipe. Which, I know I work at a bank, but I'm not, or credit union, sorry. I'm not the greatest with math, but we'll hope to God this is right. So if you're just doing a single serving, like a single casserole, you would need 1/4 cup of salted butter. And we almost ended up with 3/4 of a cup of salt, because I just saw salt and I started pouring it out and never even saw the butter part of it. So anyways, we want, that would have bought, oh, and Elburn doesn't like a lot of salt on anything. Okay, so we're gonna melt the butter. And while that's happening, you want to dice up 1 onion. So of course I did 3 onions. And it doesn't call for cheese, but I'm going to put cheese in it. It says somewhere, oh no, I don't know. Maybe I dreamt it and it's not true. I thought I could do cheese. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah. Why not? Live the life, right? Alright. I better do marble cheese then. We won't put a lot in, but we'll do that on the potatoes maybe, instead of in the sauce. Okay. So we're gonna, I'm almost done, I think. All I've got left to do is the coleslaw, which I showed you earlier is all, I'm bringing up a bed, I guess, is all prepped and ready to go. And then, oh, the dressing. We have to do the dressing as well. I think that's it. I'll have to look at my list, but I think we've pretty much got everything covered. Thank God. I've spent the entire day in the kitchen today. But while I've been doing this, Alburn's been in the background and doing all the other stuff for me, so teamwork, right? Okay, so the butter is melted. So after the butter, you want to put in your 1 onion. Now, like I said, I'm tripling this so you can see all the onion I have. That's okay. Nothing wrong with a bit of onion. And I always thought with scalloped potatoes, you just put the onions on top of the potatoes, right? But this recipe doesn't call for that, so we'll see. It's always kind of scary doing a new recipe. Like, it's only family, so they'll accept it the way it is, and they know how I cook. But still, you want it to turn out good, and that's not always the way. So melt the butter and then add the onion and garlic. So for garlic, it called for 2 cloves. So if I multiply 2 by 3, that would be 6 cloves. But Danielle from work, she told me that that's not the right way to look at it because I'm not using real cloves. So I only did 4 teaspoons or tablespoons, I'm not sure. But it'll be fine. Garlic is always good. And we always know it's a hit and miss with what I'm cooking, right? You never know. So, we want to soften. So we do this for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then we'll stir in some more stuff. So I'm just going to stir this while it's warming up. And I'll be right back. Okay, so now the butter and the garlic and onions are nice and soft. So we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. Of course, I'm adding more, but that's what it's calling for. And then it says to cook for 2 more minutes. So we'll just get this in it. This kind of is starting to scare me because it's kind of like the creamed peas. Alright, we've got the flour in there. So it says to combine the cup of chicken broth and the 2 cups of milk, but because I had to triple all that, I didn't combine it, so I'll just add it on separately. So let's start with the milk. And it says to do this gradually. Well, how do you know how gradually you got to do it? I guess more than that. Let's try. Okay, so I've got the sauce ready. So it says to put 1/3 of your potatoes in your pan. And then you can sprinkle some cheese on it. Now you don't want a lot of cheese, just enough to give it a little bit of flavor. And salt and pepper is very important on each layer. So salt, pepper, should use the other one, but that's fine. And then we want 1/3 of the layer, 1/3 of a cup. Nope, 1/3 of whatever's in here. So, I don't know how much that is, but you want 1/3 of whatever you made, okay? And then you pour it all over your potatoes and cheese. I need a little bit more. Okay, there. That's that. Then we want to take another 1/3 of your potatoes. So I had them in the pan that I'm cooking them in. So wow. So I've just got them on the cookie sheet right now. And yeah, they don't have to be perfect. And the recipe actually said that in so many words. So you don't have to try and make it look all nice and perfect. Like you have to with those tater tots. Which I'm not good at doing. Yeah, it says they can overlap and everything. So, make sure your timer, or you're not your timer, your oven is preheating to 350. So there's 2 ways of cooking this. And, whoa. the first way is if you were, so we're doing exactly what we did for the first layer. Potatoes, cheese, salt and pepper, sauce. So I'm doing the make ahead type. So I'm gonna cook mine at 350 for an hour, covered. I don't take the cover off, I leave it on, let it cool down and put it in the fridge. And then, excuse me, and then tomorrow I get it out a half an hour before I'm gonna put it back in the oven. And I cook it for about 45 to 50 minutes tomorrow. So, it'll be nice and warm for the dinner, which is actually lunch-ish. It's a late lunch because for people who have to drive a distance, which is really just mom and dad and Carrie and Robin. But still, I know what it's like for us when we have to drive home in the dark. I hate it. Well, I can't see very good driving at night. So Alvern is usually driving anyways, but it's boring when it's so dark out. So I'm putting some more cream in here. Hopefully a third of what I made. And then we just cover it with the sauce. And then I keep doing this. I hope we have enough for the last one. Okay. Oh, getting tired. Okay, last layer. So this was 10 pounds of potatoes. I did 10 pounds for the mashed and 10 pounds for the scalloped. So, if nothing else, we're gonna have lots of potatoes. At least we don't have to worry about the weather being cruddy and the ham not making it here, but they'll be here. Okay, last layer. So put some cheese on. So if you're not going to do this as the make ahead meal, I'm just going to use the rest of the cheese up. Then you would, I'll tell you what the rules are for that one. Not the rules, directions. So if you're just doing it normally, you would bake it uncovered. Wait, is this the right one? Yeah. So you would bake it uncovered at 350 degrees. Oh, no, sorry. You cover tightly with tinfoil and bake for 45 minutes at 350. And then uncover it for an additional 45 minutes or until golden brown. And you can broil it for 3 to 4 minutes at the end if you want. And then it says allow to sit for 10 to 15 minutes before serving. So, tomorrow's gonna be the day of reckoning. We're gonna see how many of these recipes actually turned out. Hopefully pizza's open or Chinese food or something. All right. That's too heavy for me to lift, so I'm gonna have to put it back in here again. One thing about me when I'm cooking, it's not clean. I mean, I put stuff in the dishwasher in between, but really, I make a mess. Like, huge mess. Okay, gotta switch hands. Okay, and then we'll pour the last bit over it. So, I think what we'll do, we've got some left. I don't know if we'll pour it all on, but we'll pour some more of it on. Yep, there we go. Oh, Christ, goodness, we might as well put the rest on. Okay. There is our scalloped potatoes. So I'm going to put tin foil on it and I'm going to cook it for an hour. Cook it for an hour and then let it cool and put it in the fridge for the night. Call it done. So I will be back once I get organized to make the stuffing. All right, talk to you soon.